Hi, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do like a little get ready with me using new products that I've been using. Some new, some just solid staples, but mostly new products that I have been trying. Some which I'm going to be actually trying properly for the first time today as well. So I'm going to do like my everyday like base look routine. It's basically just skin and no eyes and like just pure skin. So let's get started. So I've already put my moisturizer on. I use the Skin Food by Weleda, and I'm going to go in with the Sculpted by Amy Satin Silk Foundation. This is a new one which I've been using for the last few weeks since they sent it to me. Thank you very much. And really like it. And it's different to the textures I normally go for. I normally go for more of a drier consistency. This does set down on its own, which is what I look for and what I do like, but they're generally a lot more dry and matte, the ones that I go for, because I like to re-add glow and hydration in later. So, I'm just going to apply it for you and show you just how it is. I use this generally to just even out the skin tone versus using it for coverage. So as you can see, I'm going in with a very dense brush. This is the Mr. Perfect brush by Too Faced. I'm going in and I'm really working it into the skin. I mean, look at that. That's stunning. I just like how hydrating it is and how smoothing it is, but it's not too greasy. And I've only used half a pump, like half a pump. And I'm just really working it into the skin. I really like to use foundation to be the foundation of the makeup, and I prefer using my concealer to go in for coverage. This is a mistake I commonly see. Generally just ends up looking a lot more natural. For me, perfect example, I don't really have bad skin. I only have, the odd blemish here and there. So there's no point me putting that full coverage all over the face. And it tends to happen with the majority of cases I see when I have my clients. Most of the time, I'll see, oh, I've got dark circles here. I've got a spots here and here, so I need a full coverage. You don't need that full coverage everywhere. You need the coverage only underneath the eyes, only on the blemishes, which is where the concealer comes in. So, look at this side. You can still see the natural radiance coming through in the skin, but it looks so good. Now, I do darken. I use a slightly warmer foundation on my face just because my face is a little bit paler than the rest of my body. As you can see here, it blends in nicely to my hand shade, so that's why I know I'm on the right track. And if my torso was on show here, you would see that the color did blend down evenly, but it's cold, so let me put that on the other side now. Another thing not to forget is also, if you've got a little bit of redness in your ears, they can sometimes be a little bit of a telltale that you've got redness or that you've covered something, or you've got foundation. So always just use the excess of the brush just to knock that back. Can you see how much more natural that looks? When I'm applying this on, I'm doing very much bouncing motions and I'm dabbing it into the skin rather than sweeping. If I sweep, I can actually cause, especially if you've got sensitive skin, you can actually cause more redness because you're stimulating the skin. So just pat it into the skin. I'm using a very dense brush to really put that into the skin. If I use something which is a little bit softer, it would just sit on top of the skin and it wouldn't become part of the skin as well as you would with a dense brush. I'm just using the excess just to go through the brows, just to go around the mouth, around the nose, any area, and just lightly under the eyes. Again, excess, not any actual full product. The most common mistake I see with foundation is people using too much, or just in general when it comes to makeup application, especially when I'm doing one-to-ones. The biggest mistake I see, or the biggest thing to correct, is going in too heavy-handed, going in with too much product, and then it ends up becoming a little bit too much to control and it becomes overwhelming. So always use the tiniest amount. If you think you're using a small amount, use less than that, because you can always balance it up and build up more, whereas harder to put more on and then take it away. Okay, now I've done that, I'm going to go in with concealer. I'm using the HNB Cosmetics. I used this once very quickly just to throw on when I ran out of the house, and I really like the consistency of it, but I like to put it on a proper face now. So I'm going to go in and pop that on right now. I'm going to put it on the back of my hand and apply it as I would if I was to a client, or put it on a palette. I'm using the shade 3.5N to do this now. I've used the tiniest amount, and the consistency of this is so creamy, but so lightweight. And honestly, it stretches really, really nicely. I find sometimes with concealers that when you use a small amount and blend it out, it loses a bit of its coverage. Whereas with this, it really keeps it. Look at that. That is literally the tiniest amount I've used. Just patting that into the skin so far. We'll have to see how it wears through the day, but the consistency and everything, if it stays like this, as well as I think it will, it's going right in my kit. And I've used just a tiny swipe and I've not even touched it basically. Do this side now. I'm so impressed. I'm honestly so impressed with this concealer so far. Like it has just melted into my skin. And that is it. I have nothing to say. Nothing else to say apart from wow. I can genuinely understand why this is like TikTok viral, and I can understand why that it is so popular, because it is a lovely consistency. I can't wait I'm definitely going to buy more shades if it passes sort of my own personal tests, and I can't wait to try it on other skins, other skin tones, other skin types, textures, and yeah, it might replace my current concealers in my kit, which are the XX Revolution concealers. I generally look for like one product that can be manipulated in different ways when it comes to my kit, so I don't have to carry 400 different formulas to suit different skin types. I like one universal product, maybe two, that can be manipulated depending on how it's applied or what it can be mixed in with. So this feels like it's got all the properties that I could even probably even use this just as a foundation alone if I didn't like the Sculpted by Amy foundation so much. But I feel like this has that kind of stretch to it, which could be diluted down into a foundation if I wanted to. So very impressed, very impressed. Let's go to bronzer now. I have been loving the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. I got sent this, so thank you e.l.f. Cosmetics. And I didn't really know what to sort of expect when it came to the brand. I just sort of like, okay, don't really try much e.l.f., but I know that they get a lot of hype. So I was like, yeah, feel free to send those through. I'd love to try them. Very impressed by this. Really, really like it. So I'm going to just go in and I'm going to use, this is a Real Techniques brush, but it's dense, but it has a little bit of give to it. I used to use a more dense brush, and I found that it was just dragging, because of how dense it was using this product, it was dragging the foundation underneath a little bit more than I would like. So I use a little bit of a softer brush so I don't have that problem. And I've already decanted this into a kit pack palette, so it's in my, I'll show you actually. So I've already decanted it into my sort of cream based products. I still need to fill this out, it's work in progress, but it made the cut. That's how much I like it. I've used it on a few people and it blends seamlessly into everyone. I use it. It's a gorgeous tone. I want to see what other shades they have as well and see maybe if that fills out the palette. But I find that I really like it because it does actually last quite long and it's cheap. So I'm going to take this from my now personal one. If I was using my kit, I would scrape it out onto a palette and use it from there. But now I can use this as my own personal one. It's a nice size, nice shape. I can just, you know, sort of tease the brush in. And then I just pat that in. And what I like to do is I like to pat it into the skin like so. So just all the way around, and then use the brush to blend it in. I'm using like a medium level of pressure. I'm not pressing too hard, but I'm not being too soft with it. And I'm just, now that I know that I've got all the product off the brush onto my skin, and now using the brush to sort of blend that in. And it blends. Can you see how it just dissolves into the skin? Like, I love a bit of luxury beauty, don't get me wrong, but when a product is working just as well, if not better, for a fraction of the price. I mean, half of it's going, like, getting decanted and put into a palette in my kit anyway, so you don't even see the packaging. For me, it's just quality over branding, or, you know, this sort of thing. Like, you can still be a high-end makeup artist, you can still be a luxury makeup artist when you value quality over branding and you value that over a hype, for example. Sometimes more expensive does not mean better. Like, look at that. And for me, this tone is perfect, but the reason why I like it is because it builds and shears down in the same tone. So it is quite a nice tone for most skin tones. I'd say when it gets to the super, super fair, I may need it to be a little bit more neutral. But I find for my skin tone and lighter, perfect. I need to see if they've got darker shades for dark skin tones. But even then, it still builds up. Maybe if it was a little bit darker than me, it could still be built up to it, but then when it obviously gets to deeper skin tones, it's not going to work this shade. But yeah, I need to actually look and see if they've got more shades in this, because I'm gonna go in with a smaller fluffy brush and sculpt the nose. Can never forget the nose. I always start, for my shape, I always start at the bridge of the nose and I just blend it a little bit into my socket, just so it's a seamless. Oh, that was a bit much. Oh no. If that happens, don't panic, get your foundation brush and just knock it back like that. I mean, again, this is so lightweight and so airy that it just blends out like a feather anyway. So if you do end up going a little bit slap hazard like I just did then, you can correct it so fast. But it's such a gorgeous consistency to blend out. It's such a pleasure to work with. I love it. I mean, look at that. Barely any effort at all. And then what you do is you go in with your foundation brush and you just pat around the edges of it, just to blend it into place. Oh, but yeah, we like it. Just blend that into my eye socket. That's what I've been doing lately. I've been using this to just add a little bit of an eyeshadow without it being an eyeshadow, blending into my natural lid color. So this isn't a new product, but I love it and use it every day anyway. I actually need to, I've just realized I've not actually put this in my creams palette. I need to do that. I need to grab a few of the shades actually. I need to do it, get a few of the shades of the Refi cream bronzers because they're so lovely. I've got all of the blushes in my cream palette and now I need to put all the bronzer shades. This is the bronzer in Tan. I really like using this as a blusher though. I find it's such a lovely color for me. I'll show you now. It's like a bronzy blush. I find it's not the right color for me to be a bronzer. As you can see, it's got too much warmth for me, which is why I use the e.l.f. as my main bronzer. And the lighter shade in this is too light for me. But look at that as a blusher. I love it. Whew, look at the glow. Highlighter. Not actually been using much highlighter lately, just because look at how radiant my skin is already. So I'm going to just continue and go into what I would do next anyway. And I'm going to use a new powder. I'm going to try the HMB Cosmetics. I got this in the banana shade. And yeah, I want to see how this pairs with the concealer. So let's go. I'm going to go in with a powder puff in the triangle. And I'm just going to, let me just check if it's started to sort of, not crease, but like fold, which is normal. Barely compared to some of my other concealers though. This is actually done very well. It's sort of set down on its own nicely. And I'm going to just pop a little bit of that powder. Ooh, that is gorgeous. No, that is gorgeous. So basically I got the powder because I was like, I want to try H&B Cosmetics. And I don't want to just get one product. And I'm doing an order, I may as well, you know, get a few different things. And I was like, okay, I'll just get the powder and the concealer. And look at this, please. I've barely used any. Barely. I'd have to use a lot more than this and my other powders to create this effect. And I barely touched it. That is unbelievable. If this stays like this and it's oil controlling and it continues to be like this, new powder in my kit. Goodbye, everyone else. I'm gonna get all the shades. You saw it here first. I will. Once I find something I like, I literally will buy every single shade of it and I will stay to it and I will not bother trying anything else. I just can't stop staring at my skin. That is perfect color for me, for starters, banana. I want to get the translucent one, but they were out of stock. But for how little I have used here and how flawless it looks, not just in camera, might I add, in person, because sometimes with powders, they look amazing in the camera, but they still look dry and flaky in person. This does, I think, I can't decide between the two products on what I actually prefer as my like favorite discovery from this brand, because I do love them both so far. This is incredible. Again, I can't stress this enough for how little I am using. I'm still scraping at what I sort of poured into the pot, which wasn't much at all. I'm not even having to bake, which is normally what I'd have to sort of used like a baking technique to create this finish. This is just like a light press of powder. I'm going to be staring at myself in the mirror all day today. Let's do the forehead. My forehead's normally a telltale of things as well, so I'll grab a little bit more. So I get it on here and then I rub it into my hand, just sort of distribute the product evenly onto the puff. Look at this. I'm always 5 years late to the bandwagon. I really need to stop. I need to literally, as soon as something becomes a hype, I need to be like buying it. So I'm not like 5 years late for everything. I'm actually really annoyed at myself that it took me this long to try. So I've not powdered on the cheeks and on here because this is how I'm creating the highlight without actually doing any highlight. I'm using textures to build that glow and radiance. So by removing the texture in certain areas, it enhances the glow and radiance in others. Do a light pat over that. Potentially best powder I've ever tried. Wow. I can't believe it. I like to mattify my skin down because as my skin warms up, it will settle. It's almost like you need to let the makeup cook for a little bit, like give it 5 minutes, maybe even 10. And then the sort of matteness settles into like a natural radiant matte. If that makes any sense. That's a proper contradiction, but love. Lately what I've been doing is I've just been curling my lashes and leaving it. I've not even been putting mascara. I've reached new heights of laziness when it comes to my everyday makeup, to the point where I can't even be bothered to put on mascara anymore. And I don't need to because I use the eyelash serum on my lashes. So curling them for me is generally enough. And I do have naturally quite dark lashes. So I'm just going to curl them now like that. Don't need to put mascara on. It's also healthier for your lashes not to. There we go. This serum, I have a discount code. I'm one of their ambassadors, but I've been using them for a solid, how many years now? Since like 2017. I have been using them for a very long time. And it wasn't until 2020 that I actually became one of their ambassadors and started working for them. I tell you, the amount of times I've been asked whether I'm wearing lash extensions when I'm literally have just curled my lashes and not put mascara on. It works and it's the best one. I'm just saying. So lately I went darker with my hair. I've got it slicked in a bun now just because I've been trying to be as healthy with my hair as possible and not heat style it so much. So the second it goes past day 2 where it starts to get a little bit greasier, I literally just put it straight in a bun and I use a hair mask as my hair gel and I just slick it back and I pretty much wear this style for the majority of the week and I try to wash my hair only once a week so then I'm not constantly washing it and straining it and putting heat on it to dry it. So because of that, long story short, let's just beat around the bush. I've been going darker with my brows to match the darkness of my hair. I've only gone, I'm like a natural level 6. I would say for those hairdressers out there that can understand this language, because it is literally another language. I'm a natural level 6 and I've gone darker down to a level 4. So my brows look a little bit sort of grey in comparison to my dyed hair colour. So I've been using the Barry M brow pen just because I wanted to try it. Whether I prefer it to any other brand yet, I need to try on other people first to see if it is suitable to replace the current system in my kit. I like it so far. It's got better control than the NYX brush for sure, but it doesn't have as much precision potentially. I don't know, I'm rambling now. I'm just literally darkening my brow and just following the shape that I already have because I use the Lie Brow Serum as well from Lash Beauty. And so I don't really need to do much with the brow shape. I just ever so slightly, as you can see, extend the tail. But yeah, I've just been darkening my brows just to sort of match my hair like so. But I do like this pen. I just haven't used it on enough people to say whether I want to put it in my kit or not. I'm definitely reaching it for myself personally over the NYX. I find the NYX is really good, but it leaks. And this is a common problem that I know a lot of my fellow makeup artist friends have. It leaks and sometimes you can end up like, I've nearly had, you know, mistakes or like accidents where I've like spilled it onto my clothes or a client's clothes. So I always have to constantly rub it on my hand. And I don't really want to do that, but this one doesn't have that problem. So hopefully once I've tried it enough on a few people, I can see if I will replace the NYX with this. The only thing is it doesn't have as good shade range. It only has 3 colours. That's the problem that I'm having with it. I need to try the other shades. I'm going to stop rambling now. But yeah, as you can see, just following the brow shape. And then I'm not even really putting much lip liner on anymore. I just put on a lip gloss. I use the Too Faced Lip Injection Extreme. And I just pop that. This one's like, this one's in Pink Punch. It's got a little bit of a colour to it. So it just plumps up the lips and gives it a bit of a shine. This is not a new product. It's just something that I like and I've used for years. So here we are. This is the final finished everyday look that I have been reaching for lately. When I do put a lip on, I use the Refi Fawn lip liner with this lip gloss. But lately, lately, I've just not been bothered putting a lip liner on either. I've just been doing this. I just feel like it looks a little bit more, a little bit softer, a little bit less done up on those days where I don't really want to look like I've put so much effort in, even though I've done a now 45-minute video. Well, 45 minutes filming of this. Stop talking. When I'm doing this and I'm not talking, this probably would take me around 20 minutes in total, maximum. But obviously I've been talking and rambling to your displeasure. I'm joking. But yeah, this is it. I honestly cannot wait to give the feedback on the HMB Cosmetics. These are the 2 products I've been using in this video that I've been blown away by. I love the foundation. I love the putty bronzer. But these 2 I've been like, ooh, okay. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. And please like and subscribe if you like this video. It really helps keep me motivated to film more. Bless the algorithm. So yeah, thank you so much. And until next time, bye.